go. We're just going to be working through some indices related questions. Let me know if you've got any questions and comments below. First up, a to the 5 all cubed over a squared. A squared can stay the same, but we've got to deal with our indices at the top. And because it's to the power of, you've got to multiply those indices. So it's going to be a to the 5 times 3, which of course will be a to the 15 over a squared. Because you're dividing, you need to subtract the indices. So your answer is going to be a to the 15 take 2, which of course will be a to the 13. That's your answer for the first one. Second one, 3x squared all squared over 2x cubed. So we'll leave the denominator the same. We'll have to deal with the indices at the top. Because it is 3x squared multiplied by, because it's to the power of something else, you've got to multiply the indices. So it's going to be 3x times to the power of 2 times 2, which will obviously be 4. But we've got to remember that we square the 3 as well. Another way to look at it is 3x squared times 3x squared. So you've got to make sure that you square your coefficient as well. 3 times 3 will give you 9. X to the 2 times 2 will of course be 4. And that will be on your 2x cubed that we had earlier on. You can't simplify 9 and 2 because 2 is not a factor of 9. And x over 4 over x over 3, that is going to be the same as x over 4 divided by x over 3. 4 take 3 will be 1, so that'll be x to the 1, which of course is x. The other way I quite like to do these ones is when I've got something like this, I cross things out as appropriate. So there's x to the 3 here, so I'll get rid of all of those, because that's the smaller indice out of the two. That means I get rid of 3 off the top one as well. When I get 3 away from 4, you get 1. Which of course x to the 1, you don't need to even put the 1. So again, that gets you the 9x over 2. That is your answer for that one. Next question, 2x cubed over 4x. First up, I'm just going to simplify the coefficients. 2 over 4 can be 1 over 2. And I've got x cubed over x. I'm going to do just what I was talking about before. I'm just going to write it out again. I don't need the 1. That's not telling me anything. So we've got x cubed over 2x. I'm going to cross out things from the lowest indice. So lowest indice, this is only to the 1. I can get rid of that because it's common to both of them. So that's got rid of one lot of x, which means I get rid of one lot of x there, which means that one will change to a 2. So the actual full answer will be x squared over 2. That will be your answer for that one there. For the next one, 3x squared times 2x over 12x squared. We've got to simplify the numerator because we've got a multiplication sign there. So we want to combine those two terms to make one whole term. 3x squared times 2x, 3 times 2 is 6. X squared times x to the 1, that's going to end up being x2 to the power of 2 plus 1 over 12x squared, which hopefully we can see quite clearly is going to be 6x cubed over 12x squared. We then need to simplify terms as we can. The coefficients, 6 over 12, can be simplified as 1 over 2. X squared over 2x over x cubed over x squared. You can simplify that by getting rid of the 2 down here. If I've got rid of x to the 2 there, I'll get rid of x to the 2 up here, which means I'm taking 2 off the indice, which means it will be 1, which means it would just be x. Like I mentioned in a previous one, the 1 gives us nothing of any information. Just up there, I got rid of it because it wasn't telling me anything new. That's something we'll always do. Something times by 1 changes nothing, so that can be replaced with blank space. That just gives us x over 2 as our answer there. This next one, first one that's sort of mildly tricky. you've got some things to multiply together, and you've got this one to square out. I'll square out that one first. You've got minus y to the 4 all squared, which is going to be, because it's bracketed, we've got to deal with that first. So y to the 4 times y to the 4, which means you've got to multiply these indices. That will end up getting you y to the 8, and then you've still got your subtraction sign at the front of it. So that's what that ends up turning into, that third term. These first two terms though, 2 to the y cubed, I'll just put them down here, 2 to the y cubed times minus 2 2y to the 5. 2 times minus 2 equals minus 4. Y to the 3 times y to the 5. We've got to add those indices together. That will get us y to the 8. You end up having overall, so that's my first term then. Now combining those two together, I'm just going to put it over here where there's a bit more space. It's going to be minus 4y to the 8 take y to the 8, which will of course give us minus 5y to the 8. You've got minus 4 of something, you take away another one, you get minus 5 of that something. Got to be really looking to see when you've got like terms, when you've got things that are exactly the same, like we had there, y's to the 8. Okay, question 6. 4m cubed times m squared to the 5 minus 5m to the 13. Got to combine these two, or you've got to deal with this one first. m2 to the 5. Have to multiply those together. 2 times 5 is 10. It's going to be m to the 10. So then you've got to do your multiplication first. 4m cubed times by your m10. Then the subtraction happens afterwards. That will get you 4m to the 13. So you're adding the indices together. Take 5m to the 13. As you can see, these are the same things. 4 of something, 5 of something. 4 take 5 will be minus 1, which we don't need to have the 1, but it tells us nothing. So the answer will be minus m to the 13. That is the answer there. Number 7, 7m squared all squared. Take 2m cubed times 2m over 9m to the 4. 7m squared all squared is going to be 7m squared times 7m squared. 7m squared times 7m squared equals 7 times 7 is 49. M squared times m squared, it will be m to the 4. So you end up getting m to the 4 take, now you've got to multiply these two together. 2m cubed times 2m, minus 2 times 2 is minus 4. M cubed times m is m to the 4. And that's over our 9m to the 4. 49 take 4 is 45. M to the 4 over 9m to the 4. Hopefully you know your 9 times tables. You'll know that 5 9s are 45. So if I divided both of those by 9m to the 4, I'm just going to get 5. That's my answer for that one. So the numerator is 5 times as big as the denominator. Yes, that gets you 5 over 1, 5 wholes, but you can just simplify that as 5. That is the answer for that one. Last one of this page. 3a to the 0. Anything to the 0 is 1, but because there's 3 lots of it, that is 3 times 1. Oh, should have been blue pen. 3 times 1 for the first part. Take 2a to the cubed. So I'll take 2a cubed plus 4. That all stays the same. You will end up having 3 take 2a cubed plus 4. 3 take 4 will be minus 1. So you end up having minus 1, minus 1, minus, oh sorry, we're plussing, silly me. 3 plus 4 is going to be 7. I'll do it on a new line. That is fun. 7 minus 2a cubed is our answer. 3 plus 4. We've got to obey the sign just in front of the 4, not the one straight after. 7 take 2a cubed will be the answer for that one. That's the first page. We've got one more page to work through. 3 plus 2h squared to the 0. Actually, we missed a question. 2a to the 0 plus 3a to the 0 minus 6. So that 2a to the 0, anything in brackets to the 0 will be 1. So we've got 1. We've got 3 lots of a to the 0, which means we've got 3 times 1. I'm just going to call 3 minus 6. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 minus 6 is minus 2. That's our answer there. Next one, 3. Okay, just before I continue, let's go back and show that the answer for that last one was 7 take 2a cubed, just so there's no confusion. But anyways, back to number 10. For number 10, 3 plus 2h squared to the 0 over 3h. So I've got to deal with this thing here, 2h squared to the 0. So, got to do h squared to the 0 is going to be 1. I've got 2 lots of 1 there. It's really going to be 3 plus 2 over 3h, which will end up being 5 over 3h. Can't simplify that one anymore. So that's the answer there. Number 11, 3 plus 4x to the 0 over 14. X to the 0 is 1, so it's 4 lots of 1. So it's really 3 plus 4 over 14, which is 7 over 14, which of course will be 1 over 2 when it's simplified. Because 7 is a factor of 14, we divide both sides by 7. Well, both the numerator and denominator by 7. Next one, a nice easy one. X cubed plus x squared times x. X cubed will stay the same. X squared times x will just be x2 plus 1, because this is really to the 1, an invisible 1 there. Have to add the indices. That of course will get you x cubed plus x cubed. Got 2 of the same thing. 1 plus 1 equals 2. Lots of x cubed. That's the answer for that one right there. Okay, only a couple more to go. 2x squared times y cubed all squared plus x cubed to the y, x cubed times y plus xy to the 5. So for this first part, I would expand that out. That way you don't forget about multiplying the coefficient, squaring the coefficient, sorry. So this is my first thing that I've got to do. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4. X squared times x squared, add the indices, that will be 2 plus 2, x to the 4. Y cubed times y cubed, again, just add the indices, 3 plus 3 is 6. Now over here, x cubed times x, so adding 3 plus 1 will be x to the 4. Y to the 1, y to the 5, add the indices, it's going to be y to the 6. 4 of x cubed y to the 6 plus 1 of x4 y to the 6, because they're like terms there. 4 plus 1 is 5 lots of x4 y to the 6. And that is your answer right there. This next one looks hard, but it's actually really easy. It's a very simple way to do it, even though I had thought of a way which is much worse. But just to say something at the start, if you ever have something, let's say the number 2, and you square it, that will give you 4. But then if you have it to the power of a half, which means to square root something, you end up getting back to 2, which is where you started. So squaring and square root cancel each other out. So that's one way that you could think of looking at it, but really the real easy way for this one, you just multiply the indices together. First up, 3 to the 0. Anything to the 0 is going to be 1. 2x squared to the power of a half. X squared and to the power of a half means you've got to multiply those indices. 2 times a half is 1. So that means it's just x to the 1. 2 times x to the 1 is, of course, 2x. Same again. So x to the power of a half, then that to the power of 2. You have to multiply those indices. 2 times a half is 1. So it's just minus 2x. Of course, these two are going to cancel each other out. You're just going to get 1. That is your answer right there. Now for the last one, I think it's a pretty easy one at the end. 4h squared, take 2h, h minus 2. For that one, just have to expand the brackets out. 4h squared, take 2h minus 2h times h will be minus 2h squared. Minus 2h times minus 2. The two minuses means you've got to make it a plus. That will be positive 4h. And then from there, you've got h squareds, 4 of them and 2 of them. 4 take 2 is 2, h squared plus 4h. And if you want to simplify that further, you can just look at what's common between both of them. They're both divisible by 2. They're both also divisible by h. So you could put, as the same answer, you could put 2h outside. 2h minus h, 2h multiplied by h will get you 2h squared, and 2h times positive 2 gets you your 4h. So either of those will be fine. Depends on how picky they are when it comes to simplifying things and taking out common terms. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comments below.